You freed me, human, but my people demand you take us all. Ethan Cole's ship groaned as it fell through the thin atmosphere of the mining world. The sky was a dusty orange, and jagged rocks broke the horizon in every direction. He gripped the controls tightly, trying to steady the old freighter. Sparks flew along the dashboard as systems flickered. Come on," he muttered, his voice barely louder than the hum of the engines. He had made worse landings before, but this one felt different. Something was waiting below, something that made the hair on his arms rise. The moment the ship hit the ground, it slid across the rocky surface and stopped with a harsh screech. Smoke filled the cockpit, and Ethan coughed, choking on the burnt air. Outside, the world seemed empty. No signs of life, just distant mountains and the faint glow of the mining facilities. He checked the comms. Nothing. No signals. He tried again, tapping his fingers against the console. "Hello, anyone?" He stepped out of the ship. The wind carried a dry, metallic taste. The ground beneath his boots was uneven, sharp stones cutting at his shoes. He noticed movement far ahead, a building, low and angular with strange lights glowing behind reinforced walls. Something about it felt wrong. It was too quiet. Inside the facility, aliens moved like shadows. Tall, thin figures with pale green skin and eyes that seemed too large for their faces. They carried glowing rods, guiding other aliens into cages. Ethan stayed behind rocks, watching. His heart pounded. He had heard rumors about this place. It was a prison for those who disobeyed the alien rulers. Punishment was severe and escape was impossible. Yet, as he watched, his eyes fell on one figure in particular. She was different. Her green skin shimmered under the lights. Her eyes were wide with fear but also intelligence. She struggled against the restraints that held her wrists and ankles. Her movements were graceful but constrained. Ethan's stomach tightened. He could not look away. Something inside him told him he could not leave her there. He crouched lower, looking for a way in. The walls were high and guards patrolled steadily. A vent ran along the side of the building. It was small, narrow, barely big enough for a human to squeeze through. Ethan bit his lip, thinking. It would be dangerous, but if he wanted to help her, it was the only way. He checked his pack. He had a small toolkit and a plasma cutter. Not much, but it would have to do. He crawled through the vent, the metal scraping against his hands and knees. Dust fell from above, and he could hear the faint breathing of the alien he wanted to save. The vent ended above her cage. He peered down, careful not to make a sound. She looked up and their eyes met. She blinked in surprise. "Human," she whispered, her voice trembling but clear. "Yes," Ethan said softly. "I'm here to help. I can't leave you here." Her lips parted, not in fear but disbelief. You would risk yourself?" she asked, her voice almost a sigh. He nodded. "I have to stay still. Don't move until I tell you." He set to work on the lock. The cage had no visible key. He took out the plasma cutter and adjusted it carefully. Sparks flew, and the smell of hot metal filled the small space. The alien woman flinched at the first sparks but did not move. After a few tense minutes, the lock hissed and fell away. Ethan caught it before it hit the floor. "It's done," he said. "Come on," she hesitated. I cannot go alone, my people." "We'll move together," he said. "Trust me." She climbed out slowly, her movements careful, testing her freedom. Once she was free, Ethan led her toward the vent exit. Outside, the world seemed larger, more dangerous. Distant guards moved in patterns and machines patrolled the ground. The alien woman kept close, her eyes scanning every shadow. "What is your name?" Ethan asked quietly. "Lyra," she said. "Lyra Vex." "Ethan Cole," he replied. "We need to move fast. Follow me." They ran toward the rocks, keeping low, moving as silently as possible. Alarms began to sound inside the building. Red lights flashed across the sky. Ethan did not look back. He had made a promise. He would not break it. As they moved, Lyra spoke in whispers. "Why do you help me? Humans are small, weak, and yet you risk everything." Ethan smiled faintly, though his heart pounded. Maybe humans are small, but we have something bigger inside. We do what we think is right, even if it is hard. I couldn't leave you there." Lyra's eyes widened. She had never met a human like this. The ones she had heard about were afraid, selfish, or obedient. None had ever done anything without orders for no gain. This human was different. They reached a narrow canyon and Ethan paused. The guards had spread out, scanning the area with glowing rods. They were closing in. Ethan pointed to a small cave opening in the canyon wall. "We hide there, it's narrow, they won't see us." They slipped inside. The darkness was almost total, the air cold. Lyra pressed against the wall, her breathing steadying. Ethan knelt beside her. "You're safe for now," he said. "For now," she repeated, her voice uncertain. "If they find me again, my people, we'll figure that out," Ethan said. "One step at a time. First, we survive tonight." They sat in silence. The sound of the wind outside mixed with distant alarms. Ethan's mind raced. He had not expected to get involved with alien prisoners. He had come to this world for cargo work, for trade, and now he was part of something far bigger. He did not know how it would end, but he knew he could not abandon Lyra. Hours passed. The night stretched long. Lyra finally spoke again. "Humans, you do not fear like we do," Ethan shrugged. "Maybe we do, but fear does not stop us from acting." Lyra studied him as if trying to understand this strange quality. I have never met a being like you," she said quietly. "Someone who acts not for power, not for reward, but because it is right." Ethan looked at her. "Maybe that is what makes humans different," he said. "We are small, but we try to be more." The first light of the twin suns broke over the canyon. Ethan and Lyra knew the day would bring new challenges. Guards would search, rules would fight them, and their freedom was fragile. Yet, for the first time, Lyra felt hope. And Ethan, he felt the weight of responsibility he had never expected, a responsibility that might reach far beyond this one alien woman. They moved again, cautiously, toward the edge of the canyon. Ethan led the way, his eyes scanning for patrols. Lyra followed, silent but alert. She had no words for what she felt. Humans were not like her people, and she did not yet understand their ways. But she knew one thing. She would follow him because he had freed her, and freedom was something no one could ignore. As the sun rose higher, the mining world stretched beneath them, vast and dangerous. Ethan thought about the journey ahead. He did not know what awaited, but he knew he had made a choice. One choice, small in the eyes of the galaxy, but monumental for those it touched. One choice that would change everything. And for Lyra, the memory of chains fading from her wrists was the first spark of hope she had ever felt. Ethan and Lyra crouched behind a ridge, watching the alien patrols move across the rocky terrain. The suns were higher now, and the harsh light made shadows short and weak. Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead. His old freighter had survived the crash, but now he had no choice. He could not leave Lyra alone, and returning to the city meant certain capture. Lyra looked at him nervously. "Ethan, my people, they will come for me, and now they will come for you too." Ethan nodded slowly. "I know, we need to find a safe place, somewhere no one will expect. Then we figure out what comes next." They moved carefully, the rough stones cutting at their boots. Lyra's movements were light, almost floating, and Ethan realized she was strong in ways humans were not. Her muscles were lean and fast, built for agility. She could have outrun the patrols without him, yet she stayed close. After hours of careful movement, they reached a hidden valley. Tall rocks formed natural walls, and a small stream ran through the middle. Ethan scanned the area. "This will do for now. We can rest, drink, and plan." Lyra knelt beside the stream, her hands cupping the water. "Humans, your people are strange. You risk everything for one life." "Why?" Ethan shrugged. "Maybe we are strange. Maybe we see value where others only see rules. I don't know. I couldn't leave you there. It was wrong." She looked at him closely. "Your kind, I have heard stories. Small, fragile, weak. Yet you act without fear when it matters." Ethan smiled faintly. We have fear, Lyra. We just try to do what is right anyway. The valley was quiet for a moment. Birds, or small flying creatures native to this world, darted over the water. Ethan finally allowed himself to relax. He was exhausted, but he could not let Lyra see his fear. "We cannot stay here long," he said. "The patrols will search in every direction. We need to reach your people or find a place they cannot find us." Lyra's eyes widened. "My people, if they see you, they will demand something. Something I cannot explain to you easily." Ethan frowned. "Try me." She hesitated. "There is a law among us. If one of us is freed by another being a human, in your case, then that human holds a debt. A debt not to the one freed alone, but to all of us. One life repaid means freedom for all." Ethan blinked. "All? You mean millions?" Lyra nodded. "It is not a choice. If one human frees one of us, that human must take responsibility for every member of our species. It is law, harsh but sacred." Ethan swallowed hard. He had only wanted to help one being. He had never imagined it would extend to an entire population. I cannot do that," he said, his voice tight. "I am just one human." Lyra shook her head. "It does not matter. The law is clear. Now you are bound. You freed me, and so by law you must face my people." Ethan felt a weight settle on his shoulders. He had helped her without thought of gain, but now he realized that kindness could have consequences beyond imagination. Yet he looked at her, and despite the danger, he felt the same resolve that had pushed him to act in the first place. "Then I will face them," he said firmly. "I will not leave you to suffer. Whatever your law says, I will do it." Lyra's eyes glimmered. "You humans, you are different. None of us expected this. None would have dared. It is frightening." Ethan helped her to her feet. They began moving again, this time carefully navigating toward the nearest settlement of her people. Lyra stayed close, glancing around at every shadow. The terrain was harsh and unfamiliar, and Ethan struggled to keep her calm. He had only maps in his head from old trade routes, but they were not precise. As they walked, Lyra explained more. "My people, we live under strict rulers. Obedience is law. Freedom is dangerous. Those who defy are punished, often killed. If my people see you a human, they will not know what to think. They may fear you or revere you or demand your service." Ethan listened carefully. "Then we need to be careful. I am not here to conquer or rule. I just want to survive and help you survive." Lyra's face softened. "You are strange. You're kind. You act without thought for power. It is not in our culture. You are pure in a way that confuses us." They reached the edge of a cliff overlooking a sprawling alien city. The buildings were tall, thin, and glowed with soft light. Towers rose like fingers, connected by bridges and cables. Ethan could see movement below, countless beings walking, some carrying tools, others working machinery. It was alive, buzzing, and organized. "This is my home," Lyra said quietly. "And soon you will meet them, all of them, because of what you have done." Ethan looked down. He felt fear but also determination. He had chosen this path. There was no turning back. "Then we go together. I will face them, one step at a time." As they descended, they were spotted by a small patrol. Aliens with glowing rods moved toward them quickly. Ethan pushed Lyra behind a rock, readying himself. The patrol halted, scanning the area. Ethan raised his hands. He did not plan to fight, but he had to show he was not a threat. "Human," one of the patrols said, its voice sharp and metallic. "Why are you here?" Ethan's voice was calm. "I am here for her. She is free. I mean no harm to your people." The patrol hesitated. Then, unexpectedly, it signaled and left. Ethan exhaled, his chest tight. He realized Lyra's presence alone might protect him. She was more important than he understood. They continued into the city. Lyra's people noticed them immediately. Whispers spread. Some stared, some stepped back. Elders approached, their robes long and flowing, their eyes keen. Lyra ran to them. "They have come," she said. "The human who freed me." The elders' eyes fell on Ethan. A silence followed. Then one elder, taller and older than the others, stepped forward. "Human," he said slowly, "you have done what none of your kind could. You freed one of us, and by law you are bound. Bound to take responsibility for all of us." Ethan swallowed hard. I cannot. I am just one person." The elder shook his head. "The law is the law. It does not bend for one human or for your fear. If one life is freed, all lives must be freed. Now you must decide. Do you accept this responsibility or leave her to imprisonment?" Ethan looked at Lyra. She did not speak, but her eyes held hope, fear, and trust all at once. Ethan felt the full weight of what he had started. It was impossible. Millions of lives depended on him, yet he knew he could not turn away, not after what he had done. "I accept," he said finally. "I will take responsibility. I will help your people. I do not know how, but I will not leave you," the elders murmured. Lyra's eyes shone with gratitude. You truly are different," she said softly. Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The city was alive and the rulers would test him. He had freed Lyra, but freeing all of her people, that would take courage, strength, and patience beyond anything he had known. Yet, for the first time, he felt the strange certainty that humans could do more than survive. They could inspire, they could change worlds, and they could face impossible laws with unbroken hearts. The suns were high, and shadows moved across the city. Ethan, Lyra, and the elders stood in silence, each feeling the weight of what was coming. The life of one human had become a debt for millions, and the galaxy had not yet seen what humans were truly capable of. And Ethan knew, whatever came next, he would not fail. Ethan spent the first hours after accepting the life debt walking through the city with Lyra. She pointed out streets, buildings, and hidden paths where the common people worked and lived. Ethan listened carefully, learning quickly. He noticed the fear in the workers' eyes. They obeyed the rulers without question, but there was also quiet anger, curiosity, and a small spark of hope in some. "Your people are strong," Ethan said quietly. "Even when they are afraid, they endure." Lyra glanced at him. "They endure because fear rules them. Only the bold or the foolish would act without it. You do not seem afraid. That is strange to them." Ethan shrugged. "Maybe we are afraid. We just do what we think is right anyway." As they walked, Ethan noticed a group of children playing near a machinery yard. The children laughed, but the joy was faint, hidden behind careful glances. One child tripped and fell. Instead of helping immediately, the others froze. Ethan stepped forward. He lifted the child, brushed the dirt away, and set him back on his feet. The child's eyes widened. Ethan smiled. "It's okay," he said. Lyra watched quietly. "You are teaching them without words, just your actions." Ethan nodded. "Actions speak louder than words. Fear teaches them obedience. Kindness teaches them courage." Later, they reached a hidden storage area where Lyra's people kept old supplies. Ethan examined the shelves. Tools, basic weapons, and small machines were neatly arranged. He realized these people had skills but had never been allowed to use them freely. He turned to Lyra. "If we can teach them to work together, maybe they can protect themselves. Maybe they can survive without fear controlling them." Lyra's eyes brightened. You think like a human. It is dangerous, but it could work." Ethan nodded. "We cannot fight the rulers directly. Too many guards, too much power. But we can show the people another way, a way to survive without fear, without chains." Lyra led him to a quiet alley where they could speak without being noticed. She hesitated. "Ethan, my people, the elders, they do not understand humans. They will watch you and some may try to test you. You must be careful. One wrong move and they could end you, or worse, all of us." Ethan looked at her. "I understand, but we cannot wait. If I do nothing, your people remain slaves. We have to act." Lyra nodded. "Then we start. Slowly, quietly. But your kind is different. They will notice." That night, Ethan used old comm channels from his freighter to call for help. He did not have many contacts left, but he had a small network of human traders willing to risk dangerous jobs. Soon, he arranged for two human crew members to arrive, Claire West and Luke Carter. Both were skilled engineers and fighters, though neither had faced anything like this before. When the humans arrived in a small stealth ship, Ethan met them outside the city. "We have no time," he said. "Inside, the people live in fear. My actions freed one, but now we must help all, quietly, carefully, without alerting the rulers." Claire studied the city from their hiding spot. "This place, it's huge. The people are everywhere. We can't just rush in." "We won't," Ethan said. "We teach, we organize, we help them survive. That is more powerful than weapons." Luke frowned. "You want to change their entire society without fighting?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, humans adapt faster than fear spreads. If we show them another way, they will follow. The rulers will not understand it until it is too late." They sneaked into the city using hidden paths Lyra had shown them. Once inside, they found a group of workers repairing machines under strict supervision. Ethan and his team approached slowly, keeping their distance. Ethan raised his hand. "We are here to help, not to harm. You do not have to obey fear." The workers froze. Some whispered among themselves. One older alien stepped forward. "Who are you? Humans are not allowed here." "The rulers forbid contact." Ethan smiled gently. "I am a human. I freed one of your people. Now we can help all of you. Work together, learn, survive. Do not let fear control you." The workers looked at each other. Some hesitated, unsure, but others were curious. Slowly they began to move closer, watching Ethan and his team demonstrate repairs and simple techniques to make machines work more efficiently. Ethan encouraged them, praised them, and helped them succeed. Lyra watched silently. They understand you." "Faster than I thought possible." Ethan nodded. "Fear teaches obedience. Courage teaches growth. They will see the difference." Over the next few days, Ethan and his human crew trained small groups of workers. Claire taught them basic engineering, Luke helped them defend themselves quietly, and Ethan led by example. They moved carefully, always avoiding guards and surveillance. The people began to whisper to each other. The idea of freedom spread quietly, not with weapons, but with knowledge and courage. One evening, Lyra took Ethan aside. "They are beginning to trust you. The rulers, they will notice soon. Some of our leaders are suspicious. They may try to stop you." Ethan nodded. "We cannot hide forever. We need to be ready when they come. But if we are careful, we can show the people another path. We cannot fail them." As night fell, Ethan and Lyra looked out over the city. Small lights flickered in hidden alleys where workers practiced skills and techniques taught by humans. It was a quiet rebellion, not of anger, but of dignity. Lyra realized her people were changing. She had never seen them move without fear before. Now they hesitated less, thought more, and acted with quiet confidence. Ethan felt the same hope. Humans had faced impossible odds before. Now they were teaching others to face their own impossible odds. It was slow, dangerous work, but each small success gave them strength. The next morning, the city's patrols became more active. The rulers had noticed something was different. Guards moved faster, scanned more carefully, and questioned workers. Ethan knew confrontation was coming, but he also knew that the people were no longer helpless. Small groups could act together, protect each other, and survive without fear. Lyra came to him. "They will test you soon. The rulers, they will try to scare you to make you leave. They do not understand humans. They think fear is the only way to lead." Ethan nodded. "Then we let them test us. I will not run, we cannot run, we show them another way." Hours later, a patrol stopped a small group of workers. They accused them of teaching forbidden skills. Ethan and his team arrived quietly. Ethan stepped forward. "We are here. They are learning. You cannot control them with fear anymore." The guards hesitated. The rulers had not expected humans to act without fear. Ethan's calm, firm voice and the quiet confidence of the workers challenged everything the rulers believed. After tense moments, the guards withdrew. Ethan looked at the workers. "See, You can act without fear, you can survive without being afraid. Lyra's eyes were full of wonder. You are changing them, faster than I imagined. Humans, you are strange but powerful in ways we never understood. Ethan smiled. We do not conquer, we help. Sometimes that is stronger than any weapon. Over the next few weeks, the humans continued their work. Small groups of workers learned, practiced, and helped each other. The idea of freedom spread quietly, like a hidden fire. Guards tried to stop them, but the workers moved faster, smarter, and more united than the rulers expected. Lyra realized that the people were not just learning skills, they were learning courage, confidence, and trust in themselves. One evening, she came to Ethan. You're kind humans, you do not rule with fear, you teach with patience. My people, they are beginning to understand. Ethan nodded. We do not lead with power, we lead with example. Once they see the way, they will follow it themselves. As they looked out over the city, the suns dipped below the horizon. Lights flickered in hidden alleys, small groups moving quietly, learning, practicing, and gaining courage. Ethan realized that humans had done something remarkable. They had shown an entire people that survival did not require fear and that freedom could be learned, not stolen. And in the quiet of the city, Lyra whispered, "You freed me, and now you are freeing all of us." I do not know how to thank you." Ethan shook his head. "Do not thank me. Keep learning, keep growing. That is all the thanks I need." The city slept uneasily under the watchful eyes of the rulers, unaware that a quiet revolution had already begun. And Ethan knew that the days ahead would be harder, more dangerous, but the spark of hope was alive. Humans were small, perhaps, but in the hearts of those who dared to follow, they were unstoppable. And Lyra, she realized that the human who freed her had changed everything, not just for her, but for all of her people. The city had changed quietly, but the rulers had begun to notice. Small groups of workers moved with confidence, whispering instructions, repairing machinery, and helping each other. The patrols reported unusual behavior, and the elders convened in their high tower. Their faces were hard, their eyes sharp. They had underestimated the human who freed one of their people. Now they feared what he might do next. "Ethan Cole," one elder said, his voice low but firm, "your actions have caused disorder. You cannot control our people, and yet they follow you. Explain yourself." Ethan stood calmly, his hands open. "I do not control anyone. I only teach, help, and show that fear is not the only way. Your people are learning to survive without fear. I do not rule them, they choose." The elder's eyes narrowed. "Humans are small, fragile. And yet you inspire loyalty without force. This is dangerous. We will act." Meanwhile, in the lower city, Lyra moved quietly among the workers. She had begun organizing teams, teaching them to work together without fear. They repaired machinery faster, communicated without needing orders, and protected each other from patrols. She had never seen her people like this before. Courage, once rare, was now spreading like a slow fire. Ethan, Claire, and Luke coordinated these efforts. They stayed in hidden alleys and abandoned buildings, teaching in small groups, always careful to avoid drawing the attention of the rulers. Yet, the rulers were clever. They sent patrols to watch, to test, and to intimidate. One day, a patrol cornered a group of workers near a machinery yard. The workers froze, expecting punishment. Ethan and Luke arrived quietly. Ethan raised his hands. "Stand firm. You do not have to obey fear. We will protect you." The patrol hesitated. Luke stepped forward, blocking the path. He did not raise a weapon, but his stance was firm. "You cannot scare them anymore," he said simply. The aliens blinked. No human had ever stood against them like this without fear. Finally, they retreated, leaving the workers unharmed. The workers looked at each other, astonished. Courage was contagious. That night, Lyra spoke to Ethan. "Your presence, it changes everything. My people, they are beginning to think for themselves, but the rulers, they will not give up easily." Ethan nodded. "We expected that." Fear is their weapon, but it is no match for knowledge and trust. The more we teach, the stronger your people become. Over the next days, the rulers escalated their efforts. Patrols increased, surveillance was constant, and any group of workers moving together was immediately questioned. The humans adapted quickly. They taught the workers to move in small teams, to communicate silently, and to protect each other without violence. The rulers could not understand it. The people were no longer obedient, but they were not rebellious in anger. They were confident, organized, and ready to act together. One evening, a major confrontation occurred. The rulers sent a large patrol to arrest a group of workers who had repaired a crucial power generator. The humans and workers were cornered in an open yard. The patrol approached, weapons raised. The rulers expected panic, submission, or surrender. Instead, Ethan stepped forward. "We will not run," he said. His voice was calm, firm, and steady. "You can try to force obedience, but fear will not work here. They are free in their minds. You cannot take that from them." The patrol paused. The workers stood together, shoulder to shoulder, some holding tools as if they were weapons. Lyra moved to stand beside Ethan, her presence commanding respect. The humans were not numerous, but their confidence radiated outward. The rulers could not believe it. They expected fear but found courage. The humans had shown that even small numbers, acting with trust and knowledge, could face what seemed impossible. Finally, after tense moments, the patrol withdrew. The workers cheered quietly. They were not loud, but the sound carried pride, hope, and determination. Lyra turned to Ethan. You taught them without a single fight. They follow because they trust, not because they fear. Humans, you are different." Ethan smiled faintly. "We act with purpose. Fear cannot teach purpose. Only courage can." The following days were filled with training, planning, and quiet organization. The humans taught small groups to repair machinery, move supplies, and communicate secretly. They showed them how to protect each other, even when patrols were near. Slowly, the city began to change. Fear no longer controlled every action. Confidence and skill began to replace it. The rulers, frustrated, sent spies to infiltrate the groups. The humans anticipated this. They taught the workers how to recognize strangers, how to report suspicious behavior, and how to maintain their freedom without exposing themselves. Each day, the city shifted further from control and closer to independence. One night, Lyra and Ethan climbed a hill overlooking the city. Lights flickered in alleys, small groups moving quietly but efficiently. "Look at them," Ethan said. "They are not afraid anymore. That is what you wanted, right?" Lyra nodded. "I never imagined humans could do this. My people, they are alive in a way I have never seen, but the rulers, they will strike back, soon." Ethan looked at her. "Then we prepare. We cannot fight them with weapons, but we can fight with courage, knowledge, and unity. They do not understand it yet, but they will." The next day, the rulers acted. A large force moved through the city, attempting to arrest workers and destroy human-led efforts. Alarms rang out and panic began to spread. Yet this time, the workers did not flee. Small groups, trained and confident, moved together to protect each other. They repaired sabotaged machines, rerouted supplies, and guided people to safe areas. The humans led quietly, coordinating without panic, without violence. The rulers were shocked. Their patrols were repelled not by weapons but by organization, calm, and courage. Fear was failing them. They could not understand why their rules no longer controlled the people. Lyra watched, astonished. They are not just learning, they are changing. "My people, they are alive," Ethan nodded. "Freedom is contagious. Once you see it, you cannot ignore it. Fear is fragile, courage lasts." As night fell, the city lay in uneasy silence. The humans and Lyra moved through the streets, checking on workers, ensuring everyone was safe. The rulers had not given up, but the tide had begun to turn. The people had learned that fear was not absolute, that obedience was not inevitable, and that humans could show a different path. Lyra turned to Ethan. You freed me. Now you have freed many. And the rulers, they cannot stop it. You're kind humans, you are more than we ever imagined. Ethan smiled, tired but determined. We do not conquer, we help, and once people see the way, they never forget it. The city slept uneasily under the stars, but a quiet fire burned within it. The humans had shown what was possible. Courage, trust, and knowledge had begun to replace fear, and the rulers realized that their control was slipping. Lyra placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. Whatever comes next, we are ready. My people, they will not bow again. Ethan nodded. Then we face it together, and we show the galaxy that freedom is stronger than fear. And in the quiet of the city, for the first time, the rulers felt something unfamiliar, uncertainty. They could not command the hearts of the people anymore. The humans had done what seemed impossible. They had shown that even in a world ruled by fear, hope, courage, and unity could survive and grow. Ethan, Lyra, and the humans knew the final challenges were coming. The rulers would act again, harder and faster. But now the city had learned that survival without fear was possible. And once people learned that, no power in the galaxy could take it away. And so, in the shadows of towers and alleys, a quiet rebellion grew. It was not born from anger but from hope. And hope, once sparked, could never be destroyed. The city had changed. The quiet fire of hope that Ethan and the humans had sparked was now ablaze. The workers no longer moved in fear. They communicated, protected each other, and acted with confidence. The rulers were restless, their control slipping, but they refused to admit defeat. They sent their most elite patrols to confront Ethan and his allies, hoping to crush the rebellion once and for all. Ethan, Claire, Luke, and Lyra gathered in a hidden alley with a group of leaders among the workers. Small clusters of aliens waited, listening carefully. Ethan spoke quietly but firmly. They will try to scare us. They will try to make us doubt ourselves. Do not run. Stay together, protect each other, and trust what you have learned. We do not fight with weapons. We fight with courage, unity, and knowledge. Lyra's voice joined his. You have learned to survive without fear. You have learned to act together. Now we show them that freedom is stronger than control. We do not need to kill them to be free. We only need to stand firm. The patrol approached. Their glowing rods lit the streets and alarms echoed through the city. The rulers expected chaos, obedience, and panic. Instead, the humans and workers were ready. Small groups moved quickly to block paths, guide people to safety, and secure critical machinery. Ethan moved among them, calm and focused. He knew that the rulers had power, but they did not have the courage that now ran through the people. A group of elite guards arrived at the main square. They raised their weapons, expecting immediate submission. Ethan stepped forward, his voice carrying over the crowd. You cannot force obedience with fear anymore. We will not run, we will not hide. The people are free in their minds. You cannot take that from them. The guards hesitated. They had never faced humans like this. No one had. Fear was their weapon, but these humans and aliens had none. The workers stood together, tools in hand, eyes bright with determination. The rulers watched from above, unable to believe what they saw. Their control, built over centuries, was failing. Lyra moved beside Ethan. They cannot break us, we are united. My people, they are alive. Ethan nodded. Remember what we taught. Patience, courage, trust. Fight with those, not weapons. The rulers do not understand it. That is our strength. As the confrontation continued, the rulers attempted to intimidate the crowd with displays of power. Large energy rods flashed, alarms blared, and drones flew overhead. Yet the people did not panic. Small groups of workers rerouted supplies, repaired sabotaged machinery, and protected those who could not defend themselves. The humans guided them quietly, calmly, showing how to survive and act as one. Finally, one of the elder rulers descended from the tower. His eyes were sharp, his posture commanding. He looked at Ethan. Human, he said, you have done what none should do. You have freed one and now you lead many. but your actions will not stand. Obey or all will be punished." Ethan met his gaze without fear. "Obedience cannot rule hearts. Your law cannot command minds that choose freedom. I do not rule these people. They choose to follow because they want to, not because they fear you." The elder's lips pressed together. He signaled his guards, but they faltered. The confidence and unity of the workers and humans had shaken them. For the first time, the rulers felt something they did not expect: doubt. Their centuries of control could not stand against courage and trust. Lyra stepped forward. "Enough. My people will not bow. They will not live in chains. You cannot take what they have learned. Freedom is theirs, not yours to command." Ethan added, "We do not fight to kill. We fight to survive, to protect, and to inspire. You cannot stop that. Fear is weak. Courage lasts." The elders and rulers looked at each other, realizing their authority was collapsing. The patrols withdrew slowly, unwilling to risk direct confrontation against a united people. The city was quiet for a moment, the tension heavy but controlled. The people understood they had won not by destruction but by standing together. Workers cheered softly, not in violence but in relief and pride. Lyra turned to Ethan. "You freed me, human, and now you have freed all of us. My people, we owe you more than words can say." Ethan shook his head. "Do not thank me. I only did what was right. The freedom belongs to you. I showed the way, but you chose to walk it." Lyra smiled, tears in her eyes. "We will follow this path. We will rebuild, learn, and grow. The galaxy will know we are free." Ethan nodded. He knew their journey was not over. The city would need guidance, the rulers would attempt to reclaim power elsewhere, but the people had learned something stronger than fear: courage, unity, and trust. Over the following days, the humans helped the people organize. Small groups took responsibility for neighborhoods, repairing machinery, redistributing supplies, and ensuring safety. They taught leadership without fear, teamwork, and problem-solving. The city transformed, moving from oppression to a society where people acted freely, responsibly, and bravely. Lyra stood with Ethan on a hill overlooking the city. "My people, they have changed. You're kind humans. You do not conquer with weapons but with hearts. You are dangerous in ways rulers never understood." Ethan smiled faintly. "We do not conquer, we help. Once people see the way, they never forget it. Fear cannot teach that, but courage can." Claire and Luke joined them, watching the workers move through the streets. "They trust you," Claire said. "They follow your example. It is remarkable." Luke nodded. "They are not afraid, and that is why they will never be broken. Humans may be few, but we plant seeds that grow stronger than fear." The rulers, defeated for now, retreated to distant towers, unsure of how to respond. They had learned a lesson they could not understand. Power alone could not command those who had learned freedom. One act of kindness, one human decision to free another, had ignited a revolution that no force could contain. Lyra turned to Ethan. "What happens now? Will your people stay?" Ethan shook his head. "We will leave. Our job is done. We showed the way. Now your people must walk it themselves. They are stronger than you know." Lyra smiled. "Then we will carry it forward. We will leave the past behind and step into the galaxy as free beings, all because of one human who acted without fear." As the humans prepared to depart, the workers and citizens of the city gathered quietly to say farewell. They did not beg, they did not bow. They stood tall, proud, and grateful. Lyra embraced Ethan briefly. "Thank you," she whispered. Ethan nodded. "Keep walking forward. Your freedom is yours. Nothing can take it from you." The human ship lifted off, carrying Ethan, Claire, and Luke into the skies. Below, the city glowed under the twin suns, alive with energy, hope, and determination. The people were free, not because someone had fought for them, but because they had learned to act without fear, to trust themselves, and to choose courage over obedience. Lyra watched until the ship disappeared into the distance. She turned to her people. "We are free. We choose our path. We will not bow again, and the galaxy will know that we are no longer bound by fear." Ethan, looking back from space, smiled. One choice, one act of kindness had changed everything. The galaxy had not seen the last of humans, for they did not conquer with weapons. They freed hearts, and once freedom was learned, it could never be taken away. And in the quiet of the city, laughter, work, and life continued. The rulers could not command the people anymore. A new era had begun. Hope had won, courage had prevailed, and humans, small in number but great in heart, had shown what it truly meant to change a world. Freedom, once given, could not be chained. And Ethan Cole, who had risked everything for one alien life, had sparked a revolution that would echo across the stars. The suns rose the next day, and the city moved forward, alive, fearless, and free.